There's so many horror stories and people that come to us for fixes after they've given their money away to consultants that know the job so well, but you ask them to do your policies and procedures, they don't give them to you. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff. Wherever you're going to have your healthcare facility, whether it's a house or a full building or whatever it is, you have to really be out there building connections and actually putting your name in different spaces so that people know you exist and people know what kind of services that you have.
With us today is an individual I found on LinkedIn because I was looking for unique businesses in Baltimore, and I found the founder and CEO of PD360, Robin Clayton. Robin, how you feeling?
Good. I'm really good.
Good. Now I really appreciate your time. And one thing I like about you is when I reached out to you, the very first thing you said is, "Sure, I want to talk to you about it." Like you wanted to see somebody in real life, and I ain't just jumping on here to who is this? Who I gotta feel it out, and that's how we gotta approach entrepreneurship. We gotta jump in there, feel it out, see if it's the real deal, see how things are moving. Is that how you approach everything, or was it just me? Did I just look suspicious?
Oh no, I don't, I value my time and I definitely don't, especially with all the stuff that I have to do, I definitely don't just, yay, let me put something else on the calendar kind of thing. And plus I like to talk to people. I like to see people face to face or virtual to virtual and talk to people and get a feel for who they are. And because everybody's not a good fit for everybody. And every conversation does not need to be had. Yeah, definitely want to always be face to face with people.
That's a good point. I think I'm gonna use that going forward. Every conversation doesn't need to be had. Like they say, sometimes a meeting can be an email, and if it can be an email, it could be a text message, right? Got to figure those things out. So tell us about PD360. What kind of business is it? What do you guys do?
Okay, so a lot of moving parts, but in a nutshell, we help to launch and expand healthcare businesses. And what that means is we help literally with everything back end related to help make sure that they're set up correctly, make sure that they have the correct licenses and policies, all the boring stuff people don't like to do. We do that part of healthcare to help people make sure that they can build profitable healthcare businesses and correctly put together healthcare businesses.
And with back office work and licensing and all those types of things, most people find that boring, like I said. So what made you see this a business opportunity?
Okay, so I never actually planned for my business to be in healthcare. It was by request, but I personally fell in love with the process. And there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of people that you have to deal with, a lot of systems you have to have in place. And I'm one of those people who like building, I like helping, I like supporting. And because of that, healthcare just happened to be the space that PD360 wound up in. Ironically enough, I'm the least healthcare person you ever want to meet, but I do love going along people's journeys and helping them to realize the things they should and shouldn't do, just all that good stuff. So that's how the personality, the purpose, and all those things just blended well with the healthcare space.
And by personality, you mean like your personality as it pertains to maybe organizing and structure, or you mean like your personality fit with a lot of people who are already in healthcare?
The organizing and the structure part.
Okay.
My personality is more assertive and like literal, like no nonsense, black or white kind of thing. My background is also in security, so
Okay.
that gives you an idea of that type of personality. But for the purposes of structure, that blended really well with helping to build healthcare businesses because it is strict and you have to
Yes.
have a mind for the worst case scenario, though.
Yeah, I worked for a couple of mental health clinics, and it's a lot of regulations and a lot of compliance around it. So you don't want to mess those things up. So, what's one of the biggest misconceptions around that the healthcare professionals have about starting like their own practice or getting into the business that you see?
That immediately they're going to be successful and immediately they're going to have clients, and as soon as they had people, as soon as they know they are licensed or ready to start work, that clients are going to line up. That is not how it works. You will not have immediate success unless you actually work at it prior to getting to the point of servicing other people. So you have to build relationships, and a lot of people skip that step.
Yes. All right. I'm so glad you said that. Can you expose this for me? Because I don't think a lot of people know this. How do they actually generate revenue? Because you just see people go from I have some type of service to I got multiple offices or I bought this house or whatever it is that people show around the lifestyle or the success of it, like you said. How do they actually get paid?
Okay, so you get paid by who you're servicing. So whether they're doing insurance or Medicare, Medicaid, whatever that part is, you get paid that way. However, in order to get the people, you have to go out and build relationships with businesses that complement yours, with communities, because your people come from the community. So wherever you're going to have your healthcare facility, whether it's a house or a full building or whatever it is, you have to really be out there building connections and actually putting your name in different spaces so that people know you exist and people know what kind of services that you have, and you're touching the people. People have some level of trust with you. If you don't have any of that, then you can have a nice, wonderful business on paper.
And so the marketing for that though, that's the thing that I had trouble with working with some of my clients is that there's a lot of compliance around it or some things that are maybe not illegal but looked down upon in the health space. So is there anything like that that you have to help your clients out with?
Okay, so we don't do marketing. We've seen some things, but we don't do marketing.
Okay.
What we do though is give the resources for marketing.
Okay.
You have places that actually focus on healthcare businesses and that type of marketing, but realistically, it's the same type of marketing that you would do for any business. Getting your name out there, making sure your messaging is right, making sure those pieces are together. But it's the human part of it that I like to talk about when it concerns marketing. Even though we don't do it, we have these conversations and it's go out, go to the YMCA, go to the library, make sure you're holding like info sessions about your particular type of healthcare so you can inform the people. People, they come to you and they know that you are in the neighborhood. If you have a facility, let someone do some kind of walkthrough, do an open house, do things that'll let people know that you exist in that community and that you're there to help, and let people see how you can help. If you're doing those things, one, you're building relationships. Two, people know that you exist, and there's the transparency that you offer will then also lend to the trust that people have in you because they can see that you have nothing to hide and you really are there to help. So there's the traditional marketing, but then there's that old school feet on the ground, face to face, we exist type of marketing.
I like that. I like that. So anybody that has it in Baltimore, because it's very popular here, what you just said is key. The transparency part is a big deal because that just increased trust like big time. And especially if it's like a local business or a service, if people can see what you're doing, if they can see how you're helping people, like not just testimonials, but like you said, like open houses for sharing that because I think people would need to know that. So outside of marketing though, what's one regulation you think you would like to change as far around like licensing or anything that you feel is like necessary, like an unnecessary roadblock to people actually getting these businesses set up and running properly?
Honestly, I have not come across anything regulations wise that's like a roadblock. I think regulations should be in place. So that way, those who don't have the things they need to have,
I like
they
that.
shouldn't be having the businesses. So again, on that side of it, I will say the only roadblock per se that is there are the people themselves. When you are not doing your due diligence and you're hiring people to help you and you just leave it in their hands, you should know what's going on in your business. I don't care what consultant you hire. I don't care what company you hire to help you with whatever. You should have access to your information. You should have access to what they're doing. That's what we are so completely transparent. And that is our way of doing things. Like you have your file at 2 o'clock in the morning. You can get up, you can go into your file and you can see what's happening with whatever you hired us to do. It should not be a point where you just hand your business over to someone and trust that they're going to do a good job and trust they're going to just get it done because you now paid them. There's so many horror stories and people that come to us for fixes after they've given their money away to consultants that know the job so well, but you ask them to do your policies procedures, they don't give them to you. Like there's a lot of weird stuff. And a lot of people happen to go through those things, and it's partly because you have not done your due diligence with finding out what this person can actually do in their process of doing it, and also allowing people to just take over your stuff and not give you access to it. You should always know what's going on in your business, like literally always.
Always. I agree. I agree. So let's talk a bit about doing your business in Baltimore. So we know Baltimore is really big in the health space because of Johns Hopkins and some other like medical institutions we have, but it may not be the obvious choice because it seems like a more, I don't know, blue collar city or something like that. But so what made you start PD360 here, or did you have options and you chose here? How did that go? Hey, quick break in the video to bring you two things. First, if you didn't know, 78% of customers shopping for services online go with the business that responds first. Not the best and not the cheapest, but first, because that speed gives them confidence that you can get the job done. So if you're a service-based business owner and you know you're losing leads because you're either too busy with fulfillment or you drown it in all the other admin work, Click the first link in the description and I can help you set up a system that responds in 2 minutes and not 2 hours. This way you won't lose deals or clients to businesses that are responding first. You can start to make more money every month and continue to grow your business. Second, if you're a business in Baltimore and you want to share your expertise, share your origin story, talk about how you got to where you are in your business, and you want to learn how to use AI to grow your business into the future, click the second link in the description and apply to be a guest on the Build Different podcast. All right, now let's get back to the show.
I live here, so that's why PD360 is
Okay,
here. But
good enough.
Initially, PD360 started while I was living in Egypt, and the purpose of PD360 was to do personal and professional development. That's what the PD stood for. And of course, it's a business, so you don't change the name, you just pivot.
Yep.
And we pivoted a couple times, and the idea behind PD360 always remained the same. The purpose always remained the same. It's just the actual line of work has changed from its inception to this point. And because I'm in Baltimore, that's why we're in Baltimore, but we do service the United States.
Nice. So you're a black woman in the space, and I'm not sure how it is, but I imagine, especially in Baltimore with kind of higher level institutions, and we may not see a lot of people like you, like calling the shots behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, like in the medical space. How has that impacted what you have going on? Are you seeing diversity? Are there some doors that you've opened or that you would like to be open so that you can get more done or access more businesses?
Good question. Okay, so I'm a different kind of person. I do not pay attention to what other people do.
Nice.
I just do what I do well. So I can't even answer the question on what I would like to see with other people because I have not had a challenge in what we do.
Okay.
And we focus on the independent businesses. We don't deal with hospitals or urgent care. We deal with those who are building their own private businesses, whether it's in home health, behavioral health, recovery, whatever, those types of businesses, assisted living, like literally all those different type of private practices and healthcare businesses that the layman is building, or people who are in hospitals and urgent care and they want to come out, those people who are building their own private businesses, because hospitals and urgent cares and those types, they have a whole different set of rules.
Okay.
And it's restricting to those who work in those type of environments. My mom used to work at a specific place in Baltimore, and she witnessed a lot of things and could not say anything because of how it's set up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, mind you, I'm the least medical person you want to meet, but I'm like, I would have lost my job because I'm telling everybody what they need to be knowing about what's happening around here. But those people who work in those environments, they hate it and they want to come out and they start their own brand of healthcare based off of the service they can provide. But also they have the flexibility to establish a place that will serve the people how they want to serve the people, and not based off of just we get this much money to provide this type of medication, blah, blah, blah. It's really based on the community and the people. So those are the people that PD360 works with.
Nice. And I like what you said because that was really honest. That a lot of people work in the health space from a place of compassion. So many people say they don't like it. Like they don't like the job, or they don't like the interactions or some of the regulations or the rules that apply in the business or that they have to work with. That's insightful. Now, you talked about the different types of independent or private practices. What are some that you see that are most popular here in Baltimore?
In Baltimore, RSAs are popular in Baltimore.
What's an RSA?
Residential Service Agency.
Okay.
Those are popular in Baltimore. A lot of people have those, and not all of them are actually in business. They're on paper, but you have those assistant livings. Those two seem to be the most popular here in Baltimore.
Okay, and so for residential service, that could be
it's basically home health.
Home. Oh, okay. Going home, going to people's home, and you would contract maybe nurses or something to go into homes to service people for whatever they need. Okay. Okay, yeah.
But home health is different, but they're similar as far as like the purpose of what they do.
Okay, and is it popular because the demand is high, or because it's easier to establish than some of the other ones?
Yeah, it's easier in the sense that like a home health agency, you have to have extra stuff over the RSA, which pretty much is, I want to call it minimal stuff, but it is minimal stuff as it relates to the home health sector. Home health agencies, you have to have actual demand according to the state for it.
Okay.
If it's too many in a specific space, you can't even open one. Whereas
like that.
RSA, you can open one.
Okay. All right. So my audience are either in the business space, right? They're doing their thing. They might want to grow their business, or they're thinking about it, right? They're aspiring entrepreneurs. Can you give us the top 3 independent healthcare businesses they should start if they're thinking about either getting in the game or they want to pivot or they got a big bankroll and they're like, yo, I can't let this money sit. I need to invest in something. Would be the top three they should probably get into.
Okay. Financial wise, behavioral health. If you have a nice amount of people you're servicing, assistant living for sure, and recovery, depending on where you are also. So I can't say these are the definite ones you should do. It's really depending on the population you want to serve.
Okay.
It's depending on the area you're located in, and it's depending on how much money you have. Because every business requires money. And a lot of people go into business not realizing you got to spend money to make money. And as my daddy would say, scared money don't make money.
Yes.
So you got to make sure that you have a plan financially to get into business. And also keep in mind, it's healthcare. You're dealing with, whether you're owning it or owning it and operating it, you're dealing with people's lives. So you have to be able to take on that responsibility as well. So if you're not ready to take on that type of responsibility, do not get into healthcare because it is a responsibility. It is a liability dealing with other people. So I would just say that the type of healthcare is based off of not just the financial part of it, but what you're willing to take on as far as the responsibility as well.
Okay, great. And so it's behavioral health, home services. What was the third one you said?
If you do recovery, I was like recovery residences,
Yeah.
like sober living type of things,
Okay.
you
Okay,
can do
right.
that as well. But also because really assisted living and like sober living, the lower levels, excuse me, are more out of pocket pay. So you don't have to rely on insurance so much with those types.
Okay.
But you got to market well in order to get the people you need for the types of business you want to be in.
And I think that's a lot of people are not familiar with the type of marketing you have to do in the industry. From what I see, because I know a few people who have some of those facilities. So speaking about the different types of businesses and these are the people that you serve, like people who have their independent practices. I went to your website to see if it was any examples, and you have some testimonials there, and you talk about being like efficient and supportive. So nowadays we have AI, it makes a lot of things efficient. So is there a way that you're using AI to automate some of your process?
No, we do use AI in the research area though, but we don't use AI to automate processes. It's pretty much people, everything over here.
Okay. And is there a reason that it's just easier to do it that way, or you just haven't researched how to do it yet?
No, I'm not against AI at all. I think AI is great for whatever you're trying to do that requires AI. Like for marketing stuff, I think AI is great for marketing stuff. I am against AI when it concerns removing people out of things because the more we rely on AI, the less we rely on people, the less people have jobs. Like it's a trickle down effect. While AI is great, I don't think that you should use it for every part of your business, but I do think it's really good for like marketing and different types of things like that.
Have you seen opportunities for your clients to use it to improve? So I'll give you an example. When people have to fill out a lot of forms, there's a lot of paperwork that comes along with doing healthcare and compliance. So you can store a lot of information and they have to receive and communicate back. And some people are not really great with that part of the administration and communicating. So I'm not judging. I'm really not sure. That's why I want you to tell me. Do you see opportunities for them to improve in that space using AI?
So we don't touch the operations parts of
Okay.
businesses. However, I will say if it is available for it to be easier for intakes, I would say yes, that'd be a good thing to use. However, if it means that the people that you're intaking have to also know how to use the AI, then I would say no, because a lot of people are not tech savvy, especially those who are coming into specific healthcare types, especially the elderly and those types. So if you're using it to like the patient has to use it, it may be a challenge, but if it's going to make your processes better as far as the intake process, as far as giving out information, those types of things, I would say yes, you should do that. But when it concerns people using it on the other side, if you offer training, I guess it will work. But if it's one of those they have to know going in, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? You got to know who you're dealing with, right? Who you're working with. Some places you go to and you need a piece of paper and a clipboard, right? And in other places you can go and you can just use like an iPad to fill in the form or have people fill it in online. So I think that's a really good point, right? You don't want to just assume that AI is going to solve any and everything and it's really causing more problems than you even had from the beginning. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, when it comes to like licensing and credentialing, some people would say if you don't have that, then you're not ready to start the business. Would you agree with that?
You can't.
Okay. So why is it that so many people have this business on paper? And
Because the licensing part and the credentialing part is the paper,
okay,
but the services is the people.
okay,
So if you're not providing services to the people, you can have a license all day long, but it's going to just be a license piece of paper that it may expire or not expire. But A paper is nothing if you don't put it into practice, if it's not being used.
Okay, got you. And you speak very clear about these things. How long have you been in business, or how long have you been just doing business? Because it seems like you've been doing it for a bit.
Oh, okay. Technically, I've been doing business since I was 14.
Okay, that's what I like to hear.
But my own business, so in 2020 is when the healthcare part came in. 2017 is when it was established, but before 2017, business was being done. But actually, PD360 was born out of necessity. It wasn't born out of, okay, I just want to establish a business so bad. Egypt was a place where if it looks good, it is good, no matter if it's not, kind of thing. So you fall into, okay, let's give it the look. So PD360 was born out of the look of business, but the skill of business is already being done. So that part, this healthcare part, I've been doing it since 2020.
Okay.
So the last 5 years is with the healthcare.
And how has it been going? You get a lot of inbound traffic just because it doesn't seem like I don't know. You tell me. Do you have to do a lot of outbound, or you get mostly inbound and referrals for your business?
Definitely, our growth has been all word of mouth, and it has definitely been inbound. On occasion, we do some outbound, but it's definitely been all inbound, and we made it into quite a few states just off the word of mouth. It's been a blessing. I have to say, it's been a whole blessing.
So here is a question about that. Do you have to face different rules and regulations when you do services in different states, or just you have to do it by the rules of that state for that business?
No, you go by the rules of the state because every state is different when it comes down to the healthcare. Every state has its own regulations according to how you open a business, how if you can open a business, and those types of things. And from state to state, even licensing is different. Some businesses may need a license in one state, may need a certification in another, may be able to operate before a license. It's a lot of different things in each state. For our purpose, though, the system doesn't change. So we're doing the exact same things, just differently for each business that comes across us in whatever state they're in.
And so by the same things, it's like you have like a framework or like a checklist of things you have to go through in order to successfully get that business up and running properly.
Yeah, everyone's the same. Everyone is different. At the end, that's two. It's two different sentences, but it's the same sentence. So everyone is the same, but everyone is different. So every business is the same type of business, but every state is going to have its own regulations, and according to those regulations is how we do what we do.
Got you. Have you ever got any advice that was just like totally wrong when it came to being an entrepreneur? Like, because if you're working in different spaces, some people know a lot about what their industry is or what their region is or like what their customer base is. And so they have all this experience and they go blabbering about whatever they think they know in business. And I may have been guilty of this myself. I'm not going to act like I'm not. And then you give advice or they give you advice and you was like, that doesn't apply to me. So is there anything that you can think of? And I'm asking because I want people listening to know what to look out for, how to be discerning about taking business advice.
If ever you are, okay, so for me, my people are different. So I grew up a little bit different. So when it comes down to listening to other people, it's always take with a grain of salt.
Okay.
But I would say when it concerns business, if you are talking to someone and they're always talking about how much money you can make in a business, but they're not giving you actuals on how they got to making the money in the business, don't listen to them. Listen to the people who are giving you actual actionable things that you can do to make it so that your business is going to be successful, profitable, and long. Like you don't want someone just saying, hey, you can make $6,000 a week doing this thing right here, and thinking because they just told you that is a guarantee that you do the same business they're doing and you're going to do, and it's going to happen for you the same way. Everybody's path is different. Everybody's business journey is different. The things you have to do is going to be different. Do your own due diligence. You can take everything with a grain of salt. If it sounds like good information, look into that information. Don't just say, okay, this is it, because you may find it's not it. And when the healthcare part of it, there are a lot of people on the internet that are telling you that you can do XYZ in healthcare. Every state is different. And if your friend is doing it, that does not mean you need to do it. Everybody's business is different. So keep that in mind when taking advice or even giving advice. Everything does not apply to everybody.
That's a good point. So could you share some healthcare industry blind spots? Like the professionals who are already in it. What's the gap between how they think their business runs and how it's actually running? What are the things that you have to fix for them?
Okay, so those who have private practices, those say medical. So if you provide dentistry or whatever, just to say whatever you do, therapy, you know what you know how to do. you also have to realize you don't know how to do everything. So it is very much not wise to take on all aspects of your business. Nobody should take on all aspects of their own business because it's not gonna fare well. You're going to have a lot of turnover, you're gonna have a lot of discrepancies, you're gonna have a lot of problems in your business if you're trying to do everything yourself. It's okay to say I don't know how to do it. It's okay to bring on someone who does know how to do it. It will save you money first and you won't have to fix anything second.
Yeah, I think that it's hard for people to imagine an opportunity cost or loss because it doesn't, like you said, you just said that it'll save them money. They don't know how much they're losing. They just go and maybe try to do all the things on their own because they have to hire someone. They see that as spending money, but it's actually saving them money because it increases their value on their time. Now they can go and do more of the things that they're really good at.
Absolutely. And also, you can write these things off on your taxes, people. Everything you spend on your business, you can write up on your taxes. So even when you're hiring, if you're outsourcing something, you're hiring a service for your business, you can also write that off on your taxes. It's not something that you're just spending money and it's going out the window. One, you're saving money because if you're outsourcing, for instance, especially those who are new, when you outsource, you save a whole lot of money because you're not paying salaries, you're not paying benefits, you're not paying all the things that comes with one employee, and you're getting a whole team of people to handle the different processes of your business. So don't look at spending money as it's going out the window. Look at it as an investment that it is into your business so that way you can actually make the money you're looking to make. If you're going to work on the business yourself, you're not going to make the money you could be making by doing everything yourself.
And that's a good point. And it makes me think about you and I had a conversation prior to this one, and you told me a bit about the story of how you started. So I want you to share that because that was actually a point where somebody realized they needed somebody else to do other things in their business. So would you mind sharing that with people so they can see how business actually comes about sometimes, how the opportunities arise?
Okay, so initially we were helping to build a personal injury firm. And of course, the personal injury, there are doctors, chiropractors, all type of people that are connected to personal injury offices. And the work we did for them was completely not related to anything healthcare. But the attorney that we were working for, they had a whole side conversation with someone who owned a chiropractic office. And they were thinking of going into behavioral health. They saw the work we were doing for the personal injury firm, like literally from their dining room table into office space. We were with them for a really long time. And they saw the work we were doing for them. They thought that we can do the same thing for them. So they approached with the conversation of we want to build a behavioral health and gave all the reasons why we were not the right fit because we don't know anything about healthcare. But they did see the value because if you can do this, surely you can do that. And the conversation was had, the agreement was made, and that's how we got into healthcare. Literally by the work they saw us doing by witnessing the growth of one business and wanted that same for theirs.
Nice. The most important part is you guys were actually doing your job really well, right?
Positively.
You were handling your business.
Absolutely.
And so when somebody has that kind of insight, like the people who want you to do the work for them, sometimes they're going through like a shift where they no longer want to be in the operational phase. They want to be more of an owner, and because they're either expanding or there's different reasons for that. Do your clients come to you for that? Can you help me just set up the operation so I can be more of an owner, or are you helping them like man their operations? Are you setting them up so they can go and run it? Or do you do both?
Okay, so we unofficially help with the setup. We officially help with the paperwork to get you to the next stage after you set up. So if you are coming in, your business is not registered, you have pretty much you're starting from complete scratch, you have absolutely nothing but an idea. We will help you from complete scratch. We do not like to, and we meaning me, I definitely don't mandate anyone charge anything for something you can do for free. And if you are dead set on not doing it yourself and want to pay someone, then okay. But certain things like establishing your business with your state, you can do that for less than almost nothing. For getting your EIN number, that's completely free. You know what I mean? It's different things that you can do for free to save yourself money as opposed to paying someone to do everything for you. And on top of that, the more you do for your own business, the more invested you'll be in your own business, the more you'll want to see it succeed. If you're just throwing money at it, it's not something that you're really going to care about. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You want to succeed, especially putting money into it. But the way you'll be invested into it emotionally as far as this is my thing, I want it to go here, you really won't have that because somebody else is taking over it for you. You'll just be looking at how much money is making, but you won't understand what it takes for that money to be made. So your expectations for your business won't be realistic because the only part that you've contributed to it is the money part. You have not contributed to any knowledge part of it. So every business building, it takes a lot of steps. It goes to a lot of different
Mm-hmm.
stages. So I always highly suggest that you at least be knowledgeable about what those stages are. You don't necessarily have to know each part of the stage, but at least be knowledgeable about, okay, I'm not going to get to this until I've gotten this. And I think if people have that in mind when going into their businesses, having the desire to want to know about their own business, I think that'd be good, and especially how it affects other people in different parts of it.
That's a great point. You're the second person I talked to this week that mentioned something to that effect and about knowing all the different parts of your business because you won't have enough like kind of sweat equity involved. Now, and you mentioned money, like that was the part that me and the other person were talking about, the over reliance on external funding. So people want grants or loans or venture capital and things like that. Do you come across that? Because in the health space, you can get a lot of grants for a lot of things. So do your clients deal with that? Do they ask you to help them with that? Do you suggest it? How does that work for you?
Now, most of our clients come in pretty okay
Okay.
financially, but we do also have clients that come in and they need to have funding and finances. Now, we do provide resources for grants and different avenues for funding, but you have to be financially ready for any business. Now, if you're getting into healthcare and you have lint in your pocket, that's not that you might not want to start doing that. You might want to really do some groundwork on how, do some research on how you can get some funding because before you even start services, you're going to need at least 3 to 6 months worth of money to actually keep you going until you can get, where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have any money going into the business, you're not doing any business. You're going to be on paper. And then if you spend money, even if you do it by yourself, you're still going to spend money getting your business at least to the first stage, which is getting it ready to operate. So you definitely got to have money.
Yeah. I'm, I think that you do need funding. And I think, like you said, knowing all parts of your business, that also applies to funding as much of the business on your own as you can because there's a different level of respect that comes into how you use the money. That's not to say people won't respect money from grants or loans or anything like that, but it's a lot easier to just overlook it because it's not yours. It's not impacting your pocket. It impacts your bottom line for sure, but it's not impacting your pocket. So going forward, and this could be you may have thought about this or maybe not, but the same way you pivoted from before, you may see different opportunities to expand your business. Has anybody said, hey, Robin, do you want to do a joint venture with us? All of these things right here, we'll do this part. How does that been happening for you, and do you see that happening for you in the future?
Oddly enough, right now, myself and a partner, we are working on an MSO, which is a management services organization. It's kind of a little bit like what we're doing now, but only we'll actually manage the healthcare businesses. So this will give them, you're definitely going to be successful because we're making sure that the parts that are making successful is done. So we're working on that right now. I think this is for any business. You should be really okay with the pivot. The pivot is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Your idea, your purpose, that will remain intact, but being married to one way of doing something would never be good for you. So always be okay with the pivot. The pivot, it takes you to where you need to be. I never thought I would be in healthcare, like ever in life. Like anybody would tell you that knows me, Robin is not the one. I'm like everything, Band-Aid is my max.
Mm-hmm.
Anything past that. So I never had a desire to even do anything helpful or anything to the healthcare side. So I said that to say, you want to be okay with the pivot. The pivot is your friend. And whatever you're going to do to get you where you have to be is worth it. Prime example, now I was fortunate enough to do this, so this ain't going to be everybody's path. But after actually going full time in the healthcare sector, the business did not do anything with any other business. I took off 8 months to learn my business on the healthcare side and to learn how to actually help people in the healthcare sector. And I was able to do that because I was financially all right to do
Okay.
that. So I would say, whatever you plan to do in your business, of course, your plan is going to start off one way, but you need to have a plan. So whatever's going to take you to accomplish the first section of your plan or your idea or your goal, have a plan to get there, like steps that you're going to take to get there. You can't wing it. Winging it is not going to get you where you need to be. Take your time and do it right so that way you can actually be as profitable as you would like to be in the future. But the right now, the current stages, they have to be done. And sometimes it's going to be hard, sometimes it's going to be undesirable, sometimes it's going to be like, I don't know if I want to do this. But if you're working according to your purpose and the purpose that's given to you, you're going to be all right. But you got to be willing to do this planning and doing the first stages to get to the profits.
Okay, a couple things. First, I'm so glad you said that because I tell people straight up, I don't trust any business person who don't have a plan. Just write it down, put it in your Apple Notes. I don't care, make a Google Doc. If you ain't write it down, I don't believe you. So wasting other people's time. And another thing is that why I am so adamant about people having a plan is at least you know what direction you're going in. And like you said, you can make the pivot. Like if something don't work in the plan or something is wrong, you can know how to course correct. But when you're just winging it, you don't really have any documentation of what you did wrong or idea of what you did wrong. You think everything was right because everything is an option. Which brings me to the last part, the options. You said you cut off everything else and said you're going to focus on the healthcare sector. And that's really difficult for a lot of entrepreneurs, myself included, like not just making the pivot, but like really niching down to one industry or one service, right, or one problem to solve. A lot of times people feel like they don't want to leave other options or money on the table. So you said you were financially okay, which gives you a bit more like bandwidth, like mental capacity to go and focus on that. But give us some tips on how we can be confident in just picking whatever niche we're going to pivot to or whatever service we're going to pivot to. Help me out, please. Please clear it up for us.
I will say this, and I'm speaking from my own experience now. The thing that works is where you want to be. So if you have an idea, you say, okay, you want to sell magnets, and you got a special magnet that attaches to every and any surface, right? If that idea does not work, then you have to pivot. What does it attach to effectively? So you got to choose the one, start with one. Always, even in healthcare businesses that want to be humongous, I'm like, start here and then grow into there. So whatever that niche is, if it is not working, you have to pivot. It is not going to take a long time to know if it's going to work. Do you have anybody that's paying you to do the thing that you say that you're trying to do? If you don't have anybody that is paying you to do that thing, it is not working. If you have one person that's paying you to do this thing, and I ain't saying something that's little, I'm saying if you got a nice substantial amount of money that somebody is willing to pay you to do this thing, they see value in the thing that you're doing. And I don't care, like I said, I don't care if it's one person. That means there are other people that think like that person that is paying you to do that thing. Target that kind of person, the person that has that same kind of problem, the person that has that same kind of idea, that same kind of mission, that same kind of thing. And then you can build off of that. Again, if you don't got nobody paying you to do it, it does not work. So move on to the next thing that's going to actually get you paid to do that thing. Not to say go all by money, because the purpose is great, but your purpose is nothing if nobody sees it.
Yep.
So just make sure whoever, if you got somebody to pay you to do that thing, it is working. You just got to start cultivating that thing. Everybody's niche is different. Everybody's target is different. Everybody's everything is different. But again, if you're not getting paid to do it, it does not work. And that is business. So if you want to grow your business, you got to get paid. So I would just say that if somebody's paying you to do it, then it's working. If you're not getting paid what you want to get paid to do it, that means you have to develop it. So all you gotta do is make it better. So whatever's gonna make it better, listen to the people that you're working for. Ask them questions. The best way to get to your answers is to ask the questions to the people that you're actually servicing. They'll tell you how to do it better. They'll tell you what they need. And there are so many things that PD360 does not do, but we know so much of it because of the conversations that we've had with our clients. We still don't provide those services, but we can at least help them with the knowledge of it and point them in the right direction. And that brings us to the teaching part. We were not teaching at all, but now we have the cohort coming up next year, which is a whole thing dedicated to helping healthcare business entrepreneurs do their businesses the right way. Of course, it's paid. It's not like a free thing, but it's also for those who are investing in their businesses. You have to do that. If you're going to do it yourself, invest in it. If you're going to do it yourself, get the knowledge of how to do it the right way. And that's another pivot or growth in PD360. So your plan is a living thing. It's not something that you do one time. It's something that you continue to develop as time goes along. So keep that in mind too.
Yes. So you just touched on what I was going to ask about next as we close up. What you're working on, what you got coming up. That was great business advice there too. Thank you so much for sharing, like from your personal perspective, but also how it works all across all business. Solve a problem and ask more questions about that so you can improve it. But so tell us more about the cohort, when it starts, how people can apply. We need to know because somebody listening to this might have opportunity to grow with PD360.
Positively. We definitely welcome all business owners or pre-business owners, those who don't have an actual business on paper. The purpose of the cohort is to teach you how to, one, shift your mindset. That's the first part, is shifting your mindset to get into business owner mindset, to get into what's going to happen. And this is a guarantee what's going to happen in the beginning stages of ownership, always up to the all the way up to the point you're actually providing the service that you want to provide. And we're giving you instruction on the how to's, the when to's, the where to's, the what to's. Literally nothing that you have a question on will not be answered. Everything will have an answer to it completely during this cohort. And by the end of the cohort, if you are already in business, you'll be ready to expand your business the right way. You should be expanding it while you're in the cohort, because the purpose is for you to work on your business while in the cohort. It's not an information session. This is a do it session where you're actually, each step, you're doing everything to get you to where you need to be. We're walking with you hand in hand. You can't fail.
Got you.
You cannot fail because we're with you hand in hand the entire way. And the idea is to get as many people as possible into the communities that care and that want to help, because quality of service is needed, especially in our communities. So the idea is to make sure that those who come in, that you have a care, you have a desire to actually want to impact the community, that you're working in a positive way. And we want to help you do that. So the cohort is for those that cannot readily afford the outsourcing just yet, but you can afford to do it yourself. And we want to help you do that. So
And
that's the cohort.
and that's in the healthcare space, right?
All
Oh,
healthcare,
okay.
yes.
Okay. Great. Great. Tell us where they can go and apply for the cohort and if they need to get your services.
You can go to pd360llc.com/healthcare space business space coaching. That is for the cohort. You can also set an appointment and talk about it. Just go to pd360llc.com, set an appointment, and we can talk you through whatever. And it's not a paid consultation, it's a free consultation. It does not hurt anybody to give information. At least that's always been the attitude for myself. You don't need to hoard information. People don't need to pay for every single last thing. You can give some things away for free. And those free things is just getting people started, getting people an idea of what they need to do. It's not hard. We go further together. We can't go far anywhere by ourselves or thinking that everything should belong to you. It shouldn't. So that's my philosophy.
I like that and I appreciate that, right? All that because really now that we have the internet, all the information is free, right? So it's really about either getting it distilled down to a level that you understand or like how to implement it, and that's where the consultation call comes in. So
Absolutely.
check Robin out at pd360llc.com. I'll add the link to the website. I'll add the link to the application and information for the cohort as well. Is there anything else you want to share with? If are you, I know you behind the scenes. I know you back office, but is there anything you want to share on social media where they can find you if they do want to just talk to you because they like how that? I feel like you just got us all in shape a little bit. Like you just got us ready for the week. Like tomorrow or Monday, I might get so many clients. I feel like I just need to pull it all together and show up.
But you know what though? That's what it is. Realistically, they right there. Like, for instance, we created a group. It's a group on Facebook and we have it on LinkedIn that we're just now building it. It's called the Healthcare Business Hub by PD360. And we have one on LinkedIn with the same name.
I like it.
And it's the purpose is what I just said. It's the purpose is to share information and to, of course, it's 80% education, 20% sales. We never actually get to the sales because it's just giving information. And the information helps you to at least get a starting point. It does, you can ask as many questions as you like and get the answer that you need. It's not a thing where, it's you gotta get rid of these gatekeepers. Like, it's no reason to have any gatekeepers anywhere. Like, people are gonna pay for what they need. They're gonna pay for what they want, but they're not going to. I don't know. It's just you don't have to put a price tag on everything. You don't. You just let the people who you're supposed to help get the help.
Yep.
People you're not supposed to help, you're not gonna help them anyway. You know what I mean? So it's not a thing where you have to try to hoard people to yourself or none of that. The Facebook group is private and it's private on purpose. It's private for those who are actually wanting to be in this space to actually get information and give information and that kind of thing. The LinkedIn group, I think it's or it's gotta get, I don't know, either way you gotta get in there on purpose. It's not a thing where you just click a button and just be in there doing nothing. The purpose is to do something while you're in there
Yes.
and to get the information.
I just had something. So I think we just came up with something together. We don't need to
Mm-hmm.
gatekeep the information, but we might have to gatekeep the communities, right? Because we
Yes.
have to vet the people who we're going to be around because, like I say, you are some of the people that you're around. And you want people that are like-minded, that are working on the same types of things, that can be supportive and encouraging and things like that. So I like that. You have the Facebook groups. I'll get the information from you, so we'll have a link to the Facebook group and the LinkedIn group. Both have the same name. So thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for vetting me. Make sure I was worth sharing the information with. And I'll be talking to you soon. Thanks for being on this episode with me.
All right, thank
All
you.
right.